Yo guys, I'm gonna do another video for y'all today. You may have seen my previous video on what items from Classic TBC are gonna be useful for you in the first phase of Classic Wrath. This is kind of a follow-up to that because one thing that I did leave out are Warglaives, and I've gotten a lot of comments on Warglaives. Trust me, I intentionally left them out for a reason because I think they deserve a video of their own. Because ultimately, it's a big conversation, and as much knowledge as I have, I'm going to give you as much as I can, but I don't have enough. I need your help here to find out the answer to this question. I'm going to give you everything I possibly can. Hopefully, by the time Classic Wrath arrives, we'll have better sims, a better collection of knowledge, and we will have collaborated well enough to know how long are we actually going to use Warglaives. So let's jump right into it. First of all, Warglaives, it's only Warrior Rogue. None of your Death Knights need to worry about this. First of all, with Warriors in Wrath, your Fury Warrior is going to get Titan's Grip, so they'll be dual wielding two-handers. The DPS loss is just massive for them to use two one-hand weapons, so Warglaives are not going to be an option for your Fury Warriors. We don't even need to consider it there. Arms is going to use a is going to use a two-hander. I really don't think your arms is going to do any weird kebab spec like we've seen a little bit in TBC, and that leaves the rogues up for debate. Now, assassination rogues are going to be using fast weapons, fast daggers only. That's basically all that they're concerned about. The thing about the Warglaive is at least the offhand is fast, but it's not even a dagger. If we want to compare that to, say, Librarian's Paper Cutter, which most, if not every single one of your assassination rogues are going to show up to your first raid with dual wield Librarian Paper Cutters. Paper Cutters has higher DPS, it's faster, the stats are pretty similar. I mean, ignore the stats, honestly. Like, the DPS is just better on Librarian's Paper Cutter, and you're going to want two of these. And since you're running two of these, even if you want to run one in your main hand and the Warglaive in your offhand, you're missing out on the offhand or on the set bonus from the proc. So your assassination rogues are really not going to be using this at all. So that only leaves one spec. It's Combat Rogue. Do Combat Rogues want to use Warglaives in Classic Wrath? And genuinely, I don't know. Let's find out. Um, First of all, let's compare the main hand Warglaive to Reaper of the Dark Souls. This is just a normal, sword that you're going to get upon reaching level 80. This might be an upgrade for you that you might be using in Heroics. This isn't necessarily your pre-raid BIS or anything. This is just an everyday normal sword in Classic Wrath at level 80. Right off the bat, you can see that Reaper of the Dark Souls is slower. It's going to have more DPS, higher top end, higher lower end as well. There is no agility on Reaper of the Dark Souls, which is fine. Hit rating, it's going to have a little more, no big deal. It's going to have more attack power, and it's going to have more crit. But it doesn't have that set bonus, of course. So we do keep in mind the set bonus there. And of course, if we wanted to compare Warglaive to your BIS in Phase 1 of Combat Rogues, this is the comparison between Calamity's Grasp and Warglaive. So right off the bat, you're getting more agility from Calamity's Grasp. There's no hit, which is fine. You're getting more attack power, a lot more attack power, more than double attack power, and you get 24 haste. What's nice is really the agility. We really like to have agility stacking on combat. That's just going to get you a lot of stats there. And so let's take a closer look at this proc from having Warglaives. So the Twin Blades of Azzinoth gives you the proc for having 450 haste rating for 10 seconds. Now, in my research, this is going to have a 45-second ICD. However, nobody has it in Classic TBC as of recording this video. It's possible that ICD is different once somebody gets a set of Warglaives in Classic TBC. If that happens, maybe we need to scrap this whole video and, readjust. But it should have a 45-second ICD, and we're going to go with that, okay? Now, this is actually totally comparable to Meteorite Whetstone, which is a great, fantastic heroic dungeon trinket. A bunch of DPS will be running it for the beginning of Phase 1 of Classic Wrath. It gives you a 444 haste rating proc for 10 seconds, both of which are proccing off of melee attacks. So these are very, very comparable trinkets here. Ignore this 2-minute cooldown here. It's actually a 45-second ICD. The only thing about Meteorite is it does give you a 74 crit rating, just equip. So these two are really comparable. The nice thing is that Twin Blades is actually giving you this just by equipping your Warglaives. And so the question is, how does this compare to normal combat rogue DPS? Well, based on what we know now on how combat rogues work in general, they're going to be doing less DPS than your assassination rogue anyway. So if you are that one guy who wants to play classic combat and classic wrath, you're going to be standing out a little bit as a black sheep as is. You're going to do a little bit less than DPS in your assassination rogue until you start scaling, but you will do pretty good on cleave fights. Now the haste proc doesn't really help you a whole lot on cleave fights. However, if you line this up really really well in patchwork, I do think this is going to be really really solid for you. I genuinely think it is, and I've collaborated with some other rogue minds, and we think that this is going to work out to be a decent DPS increase for you, as long as you can line up everything with your CDs and your haste procs and lust, maybe your haste potion. As long as you're lining all that up really well, this is going to be a pretty solid DPS increase. Now, I plugged in all of this information, together into RAR, and RAR is a very flawed, very very bad sim tool to use for Wrath of the Lich King, but it's the only thing we have. It's the only thing we have right now. I'm hoping someday we can get our hands on something that's better for simming and better for comparing items and whatnot. But I customly put in all this stuff on a full tier 7 phase 1 BIS combat rogue. And what we got was roughly a 43 DPS loss for using Warglaives versus Calamity's Grasp and Web Death. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. I mean, considering the margin of error that RAR has, because it's terrible at calculating things, like it always is going to give something with a hit rating a little more of an edge than something without it. Thankfully, this comparison has the same hit rating. This actually works out to be pretty freaking comparable. It's actually shocking how comparable it turned out. I really do think we don't know enough as of recording this video, and I'm sorry if you feel like I baited you into watching this, but we don't know. There's just not enough information out there, and I think I'm hiding web depth a bit with my camera. Let me just turn that off so you can see that. This is your comparison. I was estimating that the Twin Blades proc is going to give you somewhere around 130 to 150 DPS increase. But if this proc is going off while you don't have uptime on a boss, like say you're getting stunned on Mayexna, or Saffron is flying away from you in tier 7, or any number of things, maybe Malygos you're going into an air phase with, this is a massive DPS loss. I mean, the only reason this is actually even considered is because the proc. The proc is the biggest thing here. We obviously don't get any extra additional attack power when fighting demons because there are no demons in phase 1 of Classic Wrath. So it's comparable, but it's likely going to be a DPS loss for you in most, if not every single situation. I do think it'd be pretty nice for you to run it with in at least your pre-raid gear, at least running into Nax for your first kill of KT and everything. But it's really only for your combat rogues, and it's debatable if it's a DPS increase. So that's pretty much all I have for this video. I got another one coming for you for Badge of the Swarm Guard. I know a lot of people were asking about Badge of the Swarm Guard. But that's it. That's all that I have for now. I hope you enjoy. Stay tuned for more videos. Keep commenting below what you want to see, and I'm going to close this one out there before we hit 10 minutes. Thanks, guys, so much. Love you. Peace.